Today we be rising in the backyard garden with the pumpkin squash trellis. Let me show you guys just one moment. Check these pumpkins out on the trellis here. But that's not today's video. Have you ever wondered how much a backyard garden could save you in groceries? Well, I decided to do the calculation and it might surprise you. So the backyard here is just over 2,000 square feet. And I didn't even utilize all the space in the backyard as well as the front yard. So this is just kind of a rough estimate. So some people may think it's not worth the effort to have a garden. It does take a lot of energy, time, and work. However, there's actually more to it than that. And you're not only going to be saving in abundance of fruits and vegetables, but there's actually more to it than just the money aspect. And we'll touch on this later. But I gave a breakdown of all of the fruits and vegetables that I have in the backyard garden. And there's some huge producers. Zucchinis and tomatoes, huge producers for us in Zone 3 here, Canada. There are 22 zucchini plants. And if we look at how many zucchinis are produced per plant, about 8 to 12 pounds. And if we look at the average store price, it's about $2.50 per pound. The estimated value of what you'd be saving is approximately $500 to $600. Now, of course, it's going to depend on the weather. It's going to depend on pollinators. So every summer, every season, it's going to be different, but that's just an average. Now, if we look at how many tomato plants we have, tomatoes are another amazing producer. So we have about 25 cherry tomatoes. There's different varieties, but let's just call them cherry tomatoes. And then we have about 5 beefsteak tomatoes. On average, the cherry plants about 10 to 15 pounds per plant. And so that's a total of over 300 pounds total. And the average store price is $4 a pound. So you're looking at about $1,500 of savings just for the cherry tomatoes. Now the beefsteak tomatoes are about 15 to 20 pounds per plant. So you're looking at $3.50 for average store price per pound, which you're looking at over approximately $350 of savings. Now I also have a chart here of all the other fruits and vegetables, even butternut squash and pumpkin, huge producers as well, about 8 pumpkin plants, 8 butternut squash plants, and those can be quite pricey in the grocery store. So if we're looking at the butternut squash, it can produce about 16 to 24 squashes, the pumpkin 12 to 16 pumpkins, and that's about $1.99 a pound. It can be more expensive depending on where you live. So in terms of savings for the squashes, you're looking at over $500. That's huge just for the squashes alone. Let's go over some other big producers, cucumbers. So we have about 9 cucumber plants. So they can produce about 90 to 120 cucumbers. And then they're about $1.49 each. This isn't organic prices, by the way. And so that's, about $200 of savings for cucumbers. Now there's also the grapevines and then the apple tree. So yes, you are paying up front for the fruit trees, the grapes, for your seeds, unless you keep your seeds for the next season. That would save you money too. Now there's a lot listed here, like lettuce greens, the kale, the cucumbers, the rhubarb, all the herbs. They keep producing throughout the season if you know how to harvest them correctly. So for instance, the lettuce and the kale, if you keep harvesting from the outside, the inner plant's going to keep producing all season long. So there's certain fruits and vegetables that are going to give you savings throughout the season. Now initially when you're starting out having a garden, you could keep it within a low budget, depending on how much you want to spend. For us here in Zone 3, the biggest producers are tomatoes and zucchinis, rhubarb as well. You could also get into your berries and your fruit trees and your grapevines, but that's going to initially cost you more initially because you're going to be paying for the fruit trees. However, you could see you're gonna make it back within the years to come. So initially you might be putting more money into it, but then it's actually going to give you more in return. So if you look at the breakdown of all of these prices, you add them up, you're averaging about saving over $4,000. That is huge. Now that's going to differ, like I said, every year, depending on depending on the weather, the pollinators, and how much you're watering. So you could also factor in water as a cost, but what I have here is rain barrels, and so that it has helped out tremendously. And so initially in the start of the season I did have to water because we weren't getting much rain, it was dry, and then I didn't have to water after that because we got consistent amount of rainfalls. Now a garden for me is actually more than the savings, more than the money aspect, because what you're doing for yourself and the environment as well as your community far outweighs the money aspect, in my opinion, because you're creating a peaceful, serene environment, not only for yourself, but for the wildlife, lots of birds, lots of bees, lots of pollinators, and it's such a peaceful environment. I love coming out here. I get sunlight, fresh air. It's such a nice environment to be in. And also, I didn't even factor in all the flowers and what you can do with all the flowers and make essential oils. Like, the possibilities are endless. It's so fun, and it really, the start of the spring season is like an open canvas, and you're like the painter, where you get to decide where you want to grow your fruits and vegetables, where you want to grow your flowers. And it's so fun and rewarding to see the fruits of your labor, to see the fruition, your creation come to life. And so there's so many aspects, as well as less pesticides. I don't spray, so everything is organic. All the seeds are organic, so it's healthier for you, for your community, if you're giving to friends and family, and also for physical, emotional, and mental health. There's that aspect too. So when you're out here, you're having fun. You're in nature. You know, you're getting your hands in the dirt, a lot of physical labor as well, right? You're going up and down, you're doing lots of squats, you're moving around, but you're absorbing all of the great frequencies of nature. So you may be digging, you may be watering, you may be moving around, but it's building strength within yourself, mentally, emotionally, physically. And you're working with nature, so it's really bringing you closer with nature and reducing stress. So there's been some studies that show that it can help to reduce stress because you're in a peaceful environment. Also, it gives you a sense of purpose. So, and it's very rewarding because you get to see all the work that you put into it. You get to see your accomplishment, right? And also, the homegrown food is more nutritious and tasty. If you had a garden tomato, there's nothing like it. If you compare that to the store produce, the taste far outweighs. It's so much better, so sweeter. Once you've had a garden tomato, you can't even go back to a grocery store one. So it supports your overall health and well-being. And to me, that far outweighs the monetary gain that you get. And even if I saved only half, say like $2,000, I would still do a garden just because of the environment that it creates. The food is way more nutritious, I find, and tastes way better. And it's just so fun. It's like, and I'm not an artist, but it feels like an empty canvas, and you can come out here and make it however you want it. You're the one holding the paintbrush, so you can design it any which way. So thanks so much for watching. Hope this video helps you out, and as always, be getting in some whole, healthy, fresh food, be getting in some nature and some sunshine and some fresh air. When you do that, we will all be